I didn't fall for a political tyrant. I fell for a spiritual one. And just like a lot of Donald Trump's followers, I fell hard and I fell for a long time. I subjected myself to someone else's tyranny. I did this because he was saying things I wanted to hear, things I thought I needed to hear, and things I believed that I would not come to or realize on my own. So I gave away my power to someone else, even as someone who had seen myself as an independent person, a strong-minded, hopefully reasonably intelligent person. I fell hard for someone who turned out to be dishonest, cruel, manipulative, selfish, self-serving, and willing to harm a lot of other people for his own benefits. So I can relate, and I can sympathize. And I can understand that when we begin to realize that we've fallen for a tyrant, for an asshole, for whatever you want to call it, a would-be king, there's a tendency to want to get rid of the king. There's a tendency to want to get rid of the tyrant, the person who's imposing on our lives. It's perfectly natural. In some ways, it's perfectly necessary. When we've given away our power, when we've lost our integrity, we need time and space to reclaim it, to reestablish our own connection with our own truth and our own compass. It's a perfectly natural thing. But getting rid of a tyrant, whether it's a personal one, a spiritual one, or a political one, is the easy part. It's a little bit like shooting a cake because we haven't figured out how to deal with our own appetite. You can throw the cake away, you can squash it down the garbage disposal, you can put it in the compost, whatever you do, but there's just going to be more Twinkies and snickerdoodles and candy bars and everything coming your way, more power-hungry politicians. You get rid of Donald Trump, there's going to be more power-hungry politicians. There already are lining up at the door, waiting to take his place. The thing that's harder than trying to get rid of the tyrant is to get rid of the beliefs and the conditioning and the lack of inner self-integrity that led to us following this tyrant to begin with. It's not sexy, it's hard. It's hard to engage in those self-reflection. It's hard to admit that you were wrong. I had to get real good at admitting that I was wrong and how terribly wrong, and that how terribly wrong I was, and how deeply that wrongness impacted other people. It's a hard thing to do. But without that, we can have a no King's Day. We can get rid of one tyrant and more will come. Because just like rats, if there's a dump, there's going to be rats. If there's disempowered, angry, frustrated people who've lost their own sense of personal power and integrity, there's going to be people who will manipulate that. It's a hard thing to do. I wish I could say that it was simple. It's taken me most of my lifetime, or the better part of my lifetime, decades, to come to terms with the ways that I lost my compass, that I lost my integrity, that I lost my truth. It's much harder. I could have blamed the guy I followed, but I would have missed the whole point, which was facing my own loss of integrity. So yes, let's have a No King's Day. Let's protest. Let's protect our democratic institutions. But let's not lose track of what really matters here is the process of self-evaluation, not just personally, but together as a culture, as a nation, as a community. And in this, I want to say it's easy to point at the people on the left, just like it's easy to, on the right, just like it's easy, the MAGA people, just like it's easy to point at Donald Trump and his lackeys. It's easy to point at them and say, you did this. This is your fault. We just need to get rid of you. You just need to agree with us. And I hear a lot of this on the left now. We were right all along. We are all about inclusion. We understood the problem from the beginning. You just need to become more like us. You need to come into our tent. The people on the left, a lot of them won't admit it, although it's pretty obvious once you look, just think the people on the right are stupid. But I have news for the people on the left as well. Arrogance is stupid. Thinking that we are better than our neighbors, thinking that we know better than our neighbors is stupid. It's disrespectful. In a dysfunctional family, there's always finger pointing. There's always blaming. Oh, it's Johnny's fault, or it's Daddy's fault, or it's Lizzie's fault because they did this. And if Susie hadn't spoken up about this, we'd all be fine. Everything was fine before, so now we blame Susie. We're all blaming each other. And there's a lot of people on the left who are blaming MAGA people, looking down at them, sneering at them. There are podcasts and YouTube channels, entire YouTube channels that are devoted to just sneering at how stupid and wrong the MAGA people were all along. Well, to the people on the left, I should be agreeing with you. But the arrogance that you're bringing to this, I can see why the MAGA people don't like you. You are arrogant. You are self-satisfied. You are defending positions that are... We talk a lot about false equivalencies, and there are false equivalencies. It's a false equivalency to compare January 6th to the Black Lives Matter protests. They're not the same thing. But there is an underlying equivalency that I see time and time again. I look at MAGA, I look at the progressive, liberal, Democrats, whatever you want to call them, and I see crazy on both sides. I think I see two sides of an argument who both think that they're right, pointing at the other and saying that you're wrong and you just need to become more like I am. It ain't gonna work, folks. It doesn't work in families. It doesn't work in cultures. There is a deep self-reflection that will have to happen in MAGA. I don't know if it will happen. I don't even know if it's possible. You see some glimmers of it here and there from people who are owning up to mistakes they made, owning up to things they bought into. I don't see a lot of soul searching on the left. I see a lot of self-satisfied people. We were right all along, and we've always been the party of inclusion, the one who wants to bring everyone together. Well, how do you bring people together when you're calling the other half of our culture stupid? There is a wisdom that MAGA is bringing to the table here that people on the left need to realize. Even if it's crude, even if it's wisdom in the rough, there is a wisdom there that needs to be recognized. The people in MAGA have been a voice saying there's something wrong here. There's something rotten in our culture. There's something not right in this insistent political correctness that says you have to say the right name and you have to say the right word and you can't call people homeless. You have to call them unhoused and you have to get the latest letters on the LGBTQ alphabet. There's something weird about that. There's something great that we are sticking up for the rights of Black and gay and lesbian and trans and immigrants and all these people. And there's something really weird and really wrong about thinking that we can end centuries of oppression by finding just the right word to call Black people, or ending addiction by just being kinder and kinder and giving people needles and giving people places to shoot up with their needles. Safe houses, things like that. There are things that people in MAGA, this endless entitlement of I am entitled to free money from the government. I am entitled to all of these things, not just as a temporary way to get myself back on my feet, but as a way of life. There is something true in what MAGA is saying here. And if we do not come to terms with the fact that there is something true in what all of us are saying, we are never going to hear each other. To the folks on the left, you are not going to bring MAGA into your tent. I should be agreeing with you. I don't even want to come into your tent. I don't like the arrogance. I don't like the self-satisfied nature of how you talk to people. It's gross. It's demeaning. It's arrogant. It's self-satisfied. And MAGA is right to reflect to you that there's something screwed up about how you're doing things. The best intentions can be twisted in 1,000 ways, in infinite ways. Look at the women's movement. For centuries, nobody believed women when they were being raped, when they were being abused, when they were being denied the right to vote. Nobody believed them. Women couldn't own property. Women didn't have a say in my generation. Women didn't have a real say in their own lives. It's a damn good thing that women have spoken up for themselves and that this has begun to change. And at the same time, when you say, believe the women, now there's a whole subculture of women who are using that as a way to get away with crimes and say, well, he did this to me. Even the best intentions, even the best policies, even the most heartfelt desire to help people and make change in our culture can be distorted. And they are being distorted. And MAGA is telling us that. MAGA is telling us that there is something wrong with the way that we are with telling what the left has done right and is doing beautifully is saying everyone in our culture matters. Black lives matter, immigrant lives matter, gay lives matter, trans lives matter. Everyone matters. And what MAGA is saying is that it is not healthy. I can't say that this is what they're saying, but what they're reflecting is this culture where we are using this desire for inclusion as an excuse for letting people get away with lives that they're not taking responsibility for their actions, for their crimes. That's not right. That is not right. This conversation needs to be a conversation when all of our wisdom is being heard, is being recognized for the crucial piece that it brings to the puzzle. All of us are bringing something important to the table. I made a video here called Maybe We're All Kind of Right and Maybe We're All Kind of Crazy. I really believe that that's true. If we can begin to listen to the wisdom that comes from everyone, even if it's crude, even if it's spoken in anger, even if it's got still the stink of racism on it here and there, even if it's got misogyny here and there. Yes, That needs to be spoken to. But we are not going to bring MAGA into our tent. MAGA doesn't want to come into our tent. As I said, I don't even want to come into this tent. We need to learn to listen to each other. We need to learn to listen to each other. We need to learn to speak up for ourselves, and we need to learn to listen to each other. We can find an integrity within our own selves. We can find and unearth and help call forth the integrity of those around us, even those of us who, like myself, have really lost their way, had really lost their way, or have really lost their way. It's possible to do this. But getting rid of a king is not anything but the beginning of the answer. It takes a much deeper commitment to finding our own integrity, where we are no longer anyone's subject. We are not the subject of King Donald. We are not the subject of left ideology. We are our own beings coming to this situation with our own integrity. That's freedom. That's the beginning of a conversation. Express our truth. Listen to someone else's truth. Don't just defend against it, deflect it. Listen to it. Hear it. Find the wisdom. Find the integrity. Thank you for listening. If you go to No King's Day on Saturday, God bless you and thank you for speaking up. But let's look deeper at what needs to happen here. Let's, all of us, engage in a national self-reflection that leads to a culture where we don't have or need or want kings, because none of us are subjects. Thanks for listening.